Hello, this is Luke Fernandez. Welcome to Web 1430 JavaScript client-side programming. To start the course, the best place to begin is by looking at the syllabus. So actually when we go into uh, Web 1430, the first thing that pops up is this home page, and then the second link down is the syllabus. So let's click on the syllabus. And let's just go through it real quickly here. We have the course description, and this is about JavaScript, about client-side programming with JavaScript. My contact details are lfernandez@weber.edu is my email. You can try calling me at extension 7876. And my office here is in Elizabeth Hall 374. This is an online course, so there's no formal office hours, but you are welcome to drop by and visit with me in person. Send me an email if you do, just to make sure I'm here. The course outcomes are to really learn. We'll be working with JavaScript extensively in this course. Almost exclusively, yes, exclusively on the client side. JavaScript is now not just a programming language for client-side web development. It can also be used for building web servers, but we won't be doing that in this course. We'll also be using JavaScript mostly to make our pages dynamic, for putting validations in forms, for kind of moving content around on a web page. But we're also going to use it as a mechanism for sending and receiving data, little bits of data between a client and a web server. So we'll get into that later in the course. In terms of textbooks for this course, really the go-to resource here is W3 Schools, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. There's a whole big section on JavaScript, and I encourage you actually to review the very basic components. We'll go into that in this next module. In addition, there's this Baptiste Pesquet, The JavaScript Way, which is available. Here's a link to a place where you can, let's take a look at this. Here is, it's actually just hosted on JSBin. You roll down here, and then you can just click on these individual links to get to different sections in the actual text. But if you, for some reason, you prefer it all in one doc, you can use this edition, which is all in one big file. And then if you use Control F, sometimes you might find, I don't know, you might find what you're looking for quicker this way than when it's all split up. So I give you both those options. Then also, this is an optional text, but modern JavaScript, you can buy this online at Amazon, or I think there should even be a couple of copies at the campus bookstore if you have occasion to be coming to campus. In terms of code editors to use, probably the go-to code editor is really, it's up to you to choose your own. And actually, if you're become an accomplished web developer, you should be trying different ones. But of course, Brackets.io, which is probably the one you use, most of you used in Web 1400, is a good one to use for this course too. You can download it at brackets.io, and the nice thing about this is that it works on both Macs and PCs. It's got, I'll show you a little later in a video, one of these buttons here allows you to install a Prettify plugin, which allows you to prettify your code. It's a pretty critical feature. You'll find it in other editors, also online as a standalone version, but it's a nice feature of Brackets, so You might want to start there. Sublime Text is a popular editor. And Atom.io, I'm not sure Atom.io works on Macs, but it's downloadable here. Atom.io. Um, I actually encourage you to install all these editors and play around with them. Let's see. Let me see if I can give you a glimpse of Atom.io because I'm using it right now for developing a Django web server. Um, here, here it is. Try to bring this down in size a little bit so that you can see it. Anyway, I mean, I'm just trying to whet your appetite. You're really welcome to use any editor you want. And then, of course, there's also there's Notepad++, uh, which I think may just come already installed on PC machines. Either that or I forgot that I even installed it. Here's Notepad++. Actually, I probably don't really recommend this one. It's so rudimentary, so basic. It's probably won't suit your purposes. So, choose your tool appropriately. I'd probably gravitate towards brackets if I were you. Then let's continue here. In addition to then sort of an editor, you also need to use CyberDuck, which is available for a free download at cyberduck.io. And the reason why you need CyberDuck is, you would know this if you had taken my Web 1400 class, is that you're going to be hosting all your web pages, your JavaScript web pages, on the Icarus web server, which is located here, icarus.cs.weber.edu. And for example, this is my home page. Your page, your web address is going to differ just a little bit. If you watch the subsequent web tutorial, your address will become evident to you what it is if you don't already know it. So you need CyberDuck as a file transfer tool. So you author your pages locally on your own machine, and then you use the file transfer CyberDuck tool to upload them to the Icarus server while you host them. And then you grab your web addresses here and you submit them as in your assignment submissions to Canvas. So let's continue then with the syllabus. So you need CyberDuck. Then in addition, and actually not in addition to, as a complement to your standard sort of client-side editors like Bracket and Atom.io, I'm also you're going to also want to use cloud IDEs, cloud integrated development environments. One that I'm going to be using a lot and that I encourage you to use a lot is jsbin.com, and you can create an account here. You can access it through your GitHub account, and then very late in the course, we'll also be using another cloud IDE that allows you to do both server-side and web-side JavaScript development, and this is glitch.com. We'll be exploring it later. Let me see if I can just find one though, just to again whet your appetite. Well, here's a Bootstrap template. Here's an interesting one. Let's see what it looks like. Here's what it looks like. If we go back, we can look at the source code, and here are all the pages in it, and here's your index page. Let's maybe change the title here. You have to click Remix to edit it, and then, oops, made a mistake there. And then if you click Show again, then you can see you can see that the X is showing up here. Anyway, it's a really fast editor that you can use that you may want to explore on your own earlier rather than later. We will be using it later in the course. So those are the tools that you'll need for the course. Then in terms of assignments, there's pretty much an assignment due every week, sometimes more than one. So just keep your be aware of that. Most of the time, it's just one a week, and they're separated into modules. The grading scheme is pretty conventional, very conventional. It's not even probably worth mentioning. Um, Time commitment. This course does take, just sort of based on my experience from teaching it last semester, students coming from Web 1400 were a little surprised. I think they expected the same number of hours, and it probably isn't any more hours, but you've got to you got to invest some time in this course. It's definitely a rewarding course. You learn a lot. It's interesting, but it's harder to sort of just sort of muddle by, uh, which you can do perhaps in Web 1400. Then let's see. Most of the rest of this is standard boilerplate. You can read it. I will accommodate students with disabilities. Just contact me privately and let me know what your concern is, and I'll see how I can address it. We do have, standards or ethical standards that we need to follow. You can read the fine print here. The basic tenet is, if you feel a little unsure about something you're doing, the best thing to do is consult with me or one of your fellow students. There's nothing like sort of calibrating your own moral choices by asking other people about them, especially your instructor. And also make sure to cite whatever, if you do happen to use some code that you find out on the web, whatever you do is put a comment in the code with the URL from where you got it. That's at least helps to mitigate any problems that you might otherwise develop. Okay, so that's pretty much the syllabus. Then let's go into the modules where you can get a sense of sort of what the rhythm of the course and how to navigate through it. It pretty much follows the same format as my Web 1400 course if you took that. So here are the modules, and there's usually just a module a week. This week there's more than one due because you have to do this module. You watch the Getting Started video, you examine the syllabus. Then if you have questions about anything, you can of course always email me, but if you think it's a question that the rest of the class would have, you can do a favor to your classmates and also spare me the extra work by just posting it here and have a question. And I'm generally I have some good ambient awareness if something's been posted here, and I'll get back to you as quickly here as I would through email. And then not only is it will be an answer that you can be privy to, but the rest of the class can be privy to it as well. Then I do have these little Kai intro, these little quizzes, sometimes distributed through the module, and they start with this prefix CHI underscore, and they're just a way of they're sort of summary tests as a way of just sort of making sure that you've absorbed the most critical concepts that I've been trying to articulate in previous links in the learning module. These are not graded, but oftentimes you can't proceed any further on the course until you've actually taken the exam and scored the appropriate number of points in the test. So keep that in mind. So you're going to actually have to do this test. Then, so here's the next learning module. The next learning module, if If you've taken Web 1400, you'll already have done this module. It basically just shows you how to uh, download CyberDuck and work with it to upload a web page to Icarus, how to interact with Icarus. And so your first assignment is to actually upload a page to Icarus and submit the URL to me here. And don't pay attention to these points because I'm going to be changing those. And they're not what they're reflected in the video. Then the next real assignment is to actually um, develop a program that will output to screen the 12 Days of Christmas song. And we go through that. Developing a few videos here. I'll actually code 99 bottles of beer for you in a video. And then based on those videos, you can then do the assignment. Just to give you a heads up, because this is going to be due in just a couple days after you're seeing this video, you know, this course presumes that you're not a beginner programmer. You've already should have had an introductory programming course, not just Web 1400, but one where you've actually had some exposure to control structures and how to work with variables. So really, I'm not going to be going over in much detail how to write a conditional, an if statement, or how to write a for loop. Your task in this first assignment is to leverage those skills that you've already developed, you maybe use it in some other language, and do them anew, write them anew in JavaScript. So for sure, you already know how to write an if statement in, say, Java or Python. Well, you need to sort of get up to speed in writing them in JavaScript. Same goes with loops. So anyway, that's pretty much what you're going to need for this first Xmas assignment. And then just to give you sort of a taste of what comes after these, then we'll be working, developing a rock, paper, scissors game. The one you sort of played as a kid with your hands. We're going to create a virtual game. Then there's a multiplication quizzer and an online order form where you order pasta. Then there's an interesting game called Evolution. More on that later. Anyway, but this is really how the course proceeds from top to bottom. The first week is here, and you proceed downwards through the course. So by the end of the course, you're at the very bottom learning modules. I should also maybe stress or highlight that in addition to YouTube videos and sort of static resources that I'll be giving you, you also will have some sort of hands-on exercises, and a lot of them will be done in JSBin. For example, JSBin Hello World. Let's go open this one up. And here's JSBin Hello World, and it's just outputting Hello World. And your task is to try to open up a new JSBin in your own account and recreate this. And if you can't do it, then you can look at the actual code and see what's going on to actually write Hello World. So you'll see lots of these JSBins in each of the learning modules. So I try to give you some hands-on exercises before you actually get to the actual assignment. Okay, that's pretty much a wrap. Have a fun semester, and thanks for watching.